Just be yourself. What does that really even mean? What does it mean to you? Does the idea of being yourself feel good to you? Does it feel like being given permission to relax, feel at home, to be free, basically? Or does it feel risky? Because what if who you are when you are relaxed and making yourself at home and quote unquote being yourself is somehow inappropriate or unacceptable? What if who you really are when you are totally relaxed and being authentically yourself isn't good enough in a way that costs you your reputation or something more tangible like your ability to earn a living? For what it's worth, here's what has helped me and continues to help me on a day-to-day basis to just be myself. What helps me is to notice when I am not being myself, or when I feel off, and then to stop doing whatever it is I'm doing when I feel that way. That clarity is all I find I ever need. And what experience has shown me is that that feeling of not being myself comes whenever I condemn something. So the trick is for me to notice when I am condemning something, whatever that thing might be, other people, myself, situations, or events, and to then stop condemning it, to stop making it wrong. That takes trust. Trust in everything, including myself. Trust in who I really am, that who I really am is good, that life in general is good. The more I trust, the less I worry. The less I worry, the more me I become. And as an added perk, I feel good for sticking up for myself. I love myself more. I feel proud of myself and I feel great. Sometimes I have the idea that living my life inauthentically, being a chronic people pleaser, is quote unquote wrong. Being fake is wrong. Being a pushover is wrong because that makes me unhappy and unfulfilled and unable to fulfill my purpose to be happy. I don't want to be unhappy and unfulfilled. And in my not wanting those things, I make them wrong and condemn them. I have this idea that I must live authentically. And even though my intention is to feel good, the mustness and shouldness of it makes everything a strained effort. On the other end of the spectrum, I sometimes have the thought that living my life with a sort of carefree abandon in a way that disregards totally the feelings of others is also wrong because that would make me a psychopath. I definitely don't want that either. And because I don't want it, I again make it wrong and condemn it. I tell myself things like, I must be kind, I must be caring and considerate. And again, I feel trapped, I feel strained, I feel tense. Everything feels like an effort instead of just flowing naturally from my being, my inspired being, my heart and soul. What helps me in those moments is to recognize that I am in an attitude or mood of condemnation and to remember that none of those things have to be wrong, that none of those things are wrong. I don't have to think of them as wrong, and I don't have to think thoughts like, I must do this or that. I must be this way or that way. I can just do whatever needs to be done and be in a state of ease and grace. It's the idea that something is wrong that actually creates the feeling of not being myself. It's the same feeling in my experience. So instead of thinking of anything as being wrong, I can simply recognize what I do actually prefer and think about that instead. I can align myself with the idea that everything is actually all right. Everything is all right. Not everything will be all right, but everything is all right now. Everything is always all right. When I genuinely realize that, then I instantly become unconditional and everything changes even though nothing has actually changed on the outside. When I can truly recognize that everything is always all right, no matter what is going on, then I can be okay no matter what I observe, even if what I observe is myself not being okay. For instance, even if I observe myself throwing a fit or complaining or criticizing myself and others, even if someone or I myself am injured and in pain even, in the moment of observation and recognition that I am in a state of condemnation of something quote unquote bad or wrong or uncomfortable, hurtful or painful, I can course correct and guide myself back to the ultimate knowledge, the remembrance of the truth that everything is always okay, that I am okay no matter what I observe, because who I am is not what I observe. Who I am is not the things that I see, hear, smell, taste, or touch, or experience. I am the observer, the seer, hearer, smeller, taster, toucher, experiencer. Who I am is not what I observe. So I can be okay with anything I observe, even if the things I observe are not okay. I can be okay with not being okay. Sometimes it takes time for me to remind myself of that, but the reminder is always worth it in my experience. That's what it means to me to be myself. I am not just my physical self. To be myself is to be inclusive of all parts of me, even me at my worst, when I am being mean to myself and others, when I am being less than loving, and so on. When I am whole and truly authentically being myself, I accept all of me, the best of me and the worst of me. When I am truly me, I am truly happy. I am relaxed and happy and free. I see all the options, all the possibilities, including the ones that I don't prefer, and I am still happy. I can still accept. I don't feel any need to make the choices I don't prefer go away. I can just let them be and choose whatever it is I actually do prefer, because there are so many choices. There are a lot of choices that I don't prefer, and there are also a lot of choices that I do prefer. I can choose what I love without spending any of my time or energy on criticizing or explaining or even describing what it is I don't love. Sometimes it's nice to have that option, the option of critiquing and explaining and describing. Sometimes it is interesting, but I know from experience that my ultimate joy is in choosing the things I love with an open heart. I am always led to this conclusion that I am most myself when I am happy. And that must be because happy is my essential being. My essence is joy. I am happy because I am happy, in other words. It's pretty circular, and it is also very true. I don't need a reason to be happy, although having a reason is always wonderful. What I mean by not needing a reason is simply this. Happy is an emotion, and emotions have little to do with logic or reason. Sometimes I am happy when the sun is shining. Sometimes I am unhappy when the sun is shining. I can be happy or unhappy regardless of whether or not the sun is shining. My emotions are independent of external conditions. My emotions are internal and subjective to me. That's just the way things are set up. And that's wonderful, because if I can be miserable about everything the way I sometimes am, then I can be happy about everything too, by the exact same logic or lack thereof. That's what true freedom means to me. It doesn't mean I don't care about material things or external conditions. I am spiritual and I am also physical. I have physical senses. I enjoy material things and pleasant external conditions. I don't have to condemn or suppress the physical part of me. All it means is that I also have within me the capacity to be more than just physical, because I am spiritual in essence. I have the capacity to transcend and imagine and create and to be free regardless of how my circumstances look. There is no greater power or joy than that, in my experience. It's what allows me to hope and dream no matter what is going on. And it's what allows me to keep dreaming even when everything seems perfect, even when it seems like life cannot possibly get any better. It's what allows me to continue enjoying my life, which is the process of creation.